Welcome back to another episode of You're Not Crazy, You're Exhausted. I'm Tiffany, board certified and licensed nutritionist, and I'm here to talk to you today about the thyroid and stress connection. Why you're not lazy, you are stressed. Many people think stress is just an emotional experience, but stress is actually a physiological response that affects every system in the body, including your thyroid. If you're constantly tired, you're wired at night, waking up exhausted and relying on caffeine to get through the day, or feeling like your thyroid medication just isn't quite enough, your response may be playing a much bigger role than you realize. Today, we're going to discuss the connection between stress and thyroid health, how cortisol affects your thyroid hormones, why poor sleep worsens your thyroid symptoms, and we'll clear up the confusion around adrenal fatigue versus thyroid dysfunction. All right, so the first part we want to talk about is that your body was designed for short-term stressors, not constant, unrelenting chronic stress. Our bodies are incredibly intelligent. When we're faced with danger, our brain signals the adrenal glands to release stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline. This response increases your heart rate, raises your blood sugar, sharpens your focus, and helps you survive. Stay safe and stay alive is the goal. The problem is that our bodies don't distinguish between running from a bear and answering emails at midnight, worrying about finances, caring for aging parents, managing chronic illness, or living with constant overwhelm. For many people today, stress isn't just occasional, it is constant. And when cortisol stays elevated for long periods of time, the body shifts into survival mode. And when survival mode becomes the priority, things like reproduction, digestion, repair, and even optimal thyroid function becomes much less important. Your body isn't trying to work against you, it is trying to protect you. The cortisol thyroid connection, let's discuss this because people are pretty savvy about these things. We're hearing about cortisol, people are understanding this, and everyone that I'm working with will say, I have elevated cortisol, or some people, their cortisol is in the tank because they're at the bottom of their stress. Let's talk about this as one of the body's primary stress hormones, and the thyroid and the cortisol relationship. It is a very close relationship. Chronically elevated cortisol may reduce the release of thyroid stimulating hormone, decreasing the conversion of T4 into T3, and it can increase the production of reverse T3, which is an inactive form that competes with active thyroid hormone. So the reverse T3 is not the one we want. We want the active for free T3. We want those numbers to be in check. And when we are under chronic stress with chronic elevated cortisol, this reduces the sensitivity of cells to thyroid hormones. And what does this look like in real life? It means that you can have thyroid hormones circulating in the bloodstream, but your tissues may not be responding to them very well. And that will contribute to symptoms like fatigue, brain fog, feeling cold all the time, weight loss resistance, hair thinning, low motivation, and difficulty concentrating. So, stress doesn't necessarily cause hypothyroidism by itself, but chronic stress can absolutely amplify thyroid symptoms and make recovery even more difficult. Let's talk about sleep. This is one of the best hormonal therapies for your thyroid. Sleep is when your body repairs. Hormones are regulated here. Your immune function is restored during sleep. Your muscles start to recover. Your brain clears waste products, and the metabolic health is reset for the next day. But unfortunately, poor sleep and thyroid dysfunction often create another vicious cycle. We talk a lot about vicious cycles on this podcast. Hypothyroidism can contribute to fatigue, but during the day, poor quality of sleep at night. A lot of people are perplexed that they can feel so tired during the day, but have horrible sleep and they can't maybe sleep very well. Some people experience insomnia, restless sleep, muscle aches, anxiety, or sleep apnea. The poor sleep raises the cortisol. It raises cortisol even the following day. That increases your inflammation. It worsens your insulin resistance. Your blood sugar becomes out of control. It increases your hunger hormones, and it makes your thyroid symptoms feel even worse. So studies consistently show that even short-term sleep deprivation can alter hormone regulation and increase stress hormone production. That's the perfect storm to feel horrible. If you're sleeping for 5 or 6 hours a night and wondering why you still feel exhausted despite thyroid treatment, improving sleep quality and probably the length of your sleep may be one of the most impactful interventions you can make. Sleep isn't a luxury, everybody. It's a biological necessity. And if I can improve my sleep, I know that you can too. Now, let's talk about why chronic stress worsens autoimmune thyroid disease. Many people with hypothyroidism, as we've talked about in previous episodes, actually have Hashimoto's, which is an autoimmune condition where the immune system attacks your thyroid gland. The immune system and stress response are closely connected. Chronic stress and increase inflammatory signaling and then alters the immune regulation and affect the integrity of the gut lining. All of this will and may contribute to the autoimmune activity. Stress also influences behavior that indirectly affects the thyroid health. When we're stressed, we often skip meals or we eat more processed foods, we sleep less, exercise inconsistently, rely on caffeines and energy drinks, we rely on alcohol, we spend less time outdoors, and we neglect our recovery. All of these habits will further challenge your thyroid function. This is why stress management isn't just about feeling calmer, it's about reducing physiological burden on your body and creating an environment where healing is more possible. Sometimes one of the best things you can do for your thyroid isn't another supplement, it's learning how to slow down. So slow your roll and your thyroid will start to heal. Now let's discuss something called adrenal fatigue versus thyroid dysfunction. There's a lot of confusion about this term, adrenal fatigue. In conventional medicine, adrenal fatigue is not recognized as an official medical diagnosis. True adrenal insufficiency, such as Addison's disease, is rare and very serious, where the adrenal glands cannot produce adequate hormones. However, many people experience symptoms that practitioners describe as dysregulation of the stress response or dysfunction of the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis, or the HPA. These symptoms include morning fatigue, afternoon energy crashes, difficulty handling stress, sleep disturbances, brain fog, salt cravings, and feeling wired but tired. So a lot of times an example of that, and I experienced this myself, was that I had no energy all through the day, but then at 10 p.m., I had all the energy in the world. I was just wired to get things done. It was out of pure adrenaline. The challenge is that many of these symptoms overlap with hypothyroid symptoms, and that's why it's important to take a comprehensive approach rather than assuming every symptom is caused by one condition alone. This is what we do inside the Total Health Reset program. In my practice, we look at thyroid function, blood sugar balance, nutrient status, gut health, inflammation, stress patterns, and sleep, and how they're all connected and they all work together. Your body doesn't work in an isolated system, and neither should your healthcare plan. So, if there's one thing I'd like you to take away from today's episode, is that your thyroid does not function independently from your stress response or your sleep or your recovery. Chronic stress can alter your thyroid hormone conversion, increase inflammation, worsen that autoimmune activity, and make thyroid symptoms feel much more severe. Likewise, poor sleep can create hormonal chaos that affects everything from metabolism to mood to immune function. The good news is that improving your stress resilience and prioritizing restorative sleep are two of the most powerful and often underappreciated tools and ways to support your thyroid health. So instead of asking yourself, should I take another supplement, or should I eat a different diet, or should I eat less food or exercise more? You need to think about how you can relax and support your adrenals and your cortisol levels. Now, thank you for listening today. And if you feel this resonated with you, share it with someone who you know is struggling with similar symptoms. And I would love to help you or them out. Contact me. Let's talk about the Total Health Reset program. This is where we get into connecting all the dots that help your thyroid so that you can feel and function your optimal best.